Abby.
Hi, Olivia.
Thanks for joining today. I'm
Thank you for
excited to
having me.
chat.
I'm so excited. Thanks so much.
Yes. So I have on today Healthy Habits with Abby. So Abby is going to talk to us about her Instagram page. She focuses on, like her Instagram said, healthy habits, some really good food swaps. So we're going to chat a little bit about that today. Abby recently started an Instagram page, so she's going to talk about how she got started with that. And she's also local. So we know each other outside of Instagram. And so I'm so excited to see when she started her page. I love when local people have something fun on Instagram.
I
So
agree. It's great.
yes, it's nice. It's nice to be in good company. So
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
So if you just want to give a little background of why you started your page, how you got there, just, your story.
Sure. I wanted to do this actually for a few years, but I will say, so like overall social media is intimidating to me. So I was kind of hesitant on starting it. But I was talking to my husband for a while about it, my sisters, and they were like, just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So I created the account and I've got nothing but great feedback from, of course, family and friends, people that I haven't seen in years, and people that I have no clue what they are. But I really took an interest in the healthy eating probably when I was in college. I went to college at home. I was living home. And that's when I really took an interest in cooking and baking. And then when my dad got sick, he passed away about 6 years ago. At a young age, I kind of was always like in the back of my head, why? So when he was sick, I was always trying to give him the better swaps of food and try this, dad, and try that. But then I have two little boys. My oldest is 4.5, but when I had the kids, that's when I was reading ingredient labels more and just like doing my own research and educating myself. So I would say within the last 10 years is when I really took an interest in just making the better choices and swaps.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of things like that usually surround some type of an event, right?
Right.
Where you have this shift and it becomes something that you do a lot. And then I know we've talked about this separately, but you do also have celiac disease. So
I, yes.
how long have you had celiac?
In 2018, I got diagnosed. I knew something was off. I kept getting this awful rash on my hands. Just didn't feel good. Everything I ate, I was like, I just don't feel good. So finally, I went and got blood work and it came back. So in 2018, that's another time when I really started, again, reading ingredient labels. And you'll hear me say that a lot because I'm all about reading labels. But yeah, 2018 is when I got diagnosed and when I really had to start making, like, I had no choice but to make these choices or to make these swaps.
And that's like such a shift for everybody, right? But at least you did have that, preparedness that you had already been doing swaps for a
Right.
while,
Yeah, of course. Like even prior to 2018, I was always trying. Gluten free was kind of becoming like the popular thing, whether you
Mhm.
had it or not. So, of course,
Right.
I was trying recipes that were gluten free. But when I was officially diagnosed, that's when I was okay, these have to be permanent swaps. And nowadays, back in 2018 at the time, there wasn't like gluten free was just kind of coming around. But now you could go into any grocery store, any restaurant, and get the gluten free swap of pretty much anything on a menu, which is great.
Yeah, I know. It is shocking. So I've done in and out of gluten free. So I have an irritable bowel disease, which is
Okay.
also an autoimmune disorder.
Right.
Figuring things out like that, I thought it was celiac, it wasn't, so
Right.
I went through all of those things, but inflammation just,
Hmm.
at the end of the day is just hard to
Yeah.
manage. So I definitely don't do a perfect job with it, but I
Hmm.
try to do it most of the time. So when I have pizza, it's not like the end of the world.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but we do eat pretty clean for the most part during the week. I'm
Yeah.
always trying to find some good swaps, but that's why I was interested to sit down because I feel like I've already texted you a few questions about things and I love following your page and seeing those
Thank
little
you.
swaps. So, we're going to talk about some of those, mindful
Mhm.
swaps that we can easily do. I think one of the biggest issues with people thinking about making this swap or getting into cleaning up their diet a little bit is from what I hear from people is the cost. Everything is so
Yes.
expensive, and that
Yes.
now like there is a lot of food that is very expensive.
Of course.
That and sacrificing flavors.
Definitely, I always say those are the two biggest misconceptions with eating healthy is it's very expensive and it's not going to taste the same or it's not going to taste as good. And of course there are foods that are expensive, but I go to Walmart, I go to Aldi, and Target's been carrying some awesome brands. All these places have incredible deals and sales. So it is, and sometimes I'll even go to Home Goods one night and my husband will be like, "Oh, what'd you get?" And I'm pulling out like avocado oil and tomato sauce. And so there, I get it could be expensive, but you could make it totally affordable as well with the taste. You would be shocked at some of the products that you buy that are super clean ingredients, gluten free. They taste the exact same as the chips that are loaded with seed oils and have all this junk in it. So those are definitely the two biggest misconceptions I feel with with eating healthy that people run into.
Right. No, I definitely we love snacks, so we always
Yeah.
have snacks around, but it's funny because when you post your snack swaps for your children, I'm like, "That's what I'm eating." They're in my cabinet for me, that's my snack time.
Right.
But a lot of them and, even too, like, I'll just buy them and we'll try them,
Mhm.
and it ends up becoming a staple, you know?
Right.
If you don't like them, okay, that's fine, but just
Right.
trying it, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
No, I love that. So, one of the things that you have in your kitchen that you feel like is one of your staple items. So, what is something that you feel you really have to always replace, or the thing that was probably the biggest swap for you?
I'm probably going to have to say peanut butter. I have peanut butter in my pantry and refrigerator at all times. And if I don't have at least two in my pantry, it's just because not only do I bake with it all the time, but we put it on our pancakes, our waffles, our toast, and the boys eat it. So peanut butter, if I don't have peanut butter, I'm like, I have to go to the store. That is definitely something I always have in my house. Like I could
That's
eat
your
it by the spoonful.
yes, I know. I know it's addictive.
Yeah.
We also can't keep peanut butter because we also give it to our dogs
Okay. Yeah.
when we leave the house, so
Right.
we are also big peanut butter fans.
Yeah. And the best part about peanut butter is it's so affordable. Like I get name brands that are just made with peanuts and salt and they're under $3 and so I'm always stocking up on it.
Right. Yeah. And so that leaves me because I was going to ask about a specific peanut butter, but the organic element to all food products. So I will always try to buy something organic when I can, especially produce.
Right.
I know there's the Mary's Gone crackers and like this one's organic. I'm like, well, I will buy that one. I don't always know exactly. I'm hoping taking their word for it. I'm not diving into it, but
Right.
what if we had to like really pick and choose, what is the most important thing you think to buy
Buy before you
organic?
know. So I do buy, I'd probably say 80% of the food that I buy is organic, but definitely meat. I buy organic produce, but not all produce. I read something a few years ago and it's always stuck with me that so I buy my berries produce, but I don't buy my avocados, bananas, oranges, anything with a thicker skin. They say when they're sprayed with glyphosate and all this other chemicals, a thicker skin, it doesn't get into the actual food that you eat. So that's always stuck in my mind because I was like, okay, I'm not going to buy organic bananas for $2 more when there's really no difference. But I always buy organic berries, dairy. I try and buy organic. We're a big cottage cheese, Greek yogurt family, and just whole milk I try and buy. So I would definitely say meat, berries, and dairy. I buy organic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that they a while ago it was like more of a marketing thing. It was like Dirty
Yeah.
Dozen. So you could like very easily like look up a list for produce.
Right.
So, and meat is interesting too. Do you
Mhm.
feel like there's like locally we have a few like grocery stores like do they all have organic meat options?
I love the farmers market for meat. I'm very excited that it's going to be opening soon, but I really just buy like I go to Wegmans a lot for meat, but you could buy it at really any grocery store and it's not that expensive. It really isn't. You could look at a pound of organic grass-fed beef for $8.99 compared to maybe $7.99 of the non-organic. So, really wherever I could find it at a good price is where I buy it.
Yeah. That's what I usually buy the like same pack of chicken from
Mhm.
Wegmans. It's like organic
Yeah, I
tenderloin
know
or whatever it
exactly
is. Yep.
what
Yeah.
time or what yeah.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. The other big thing is I'll, say to Matt, like, oh, these siete puffs, like, we could eat these, like, there's no seed oils, I'll try to, like, and he's very great with, like, he eats very healthy as well. So
Yeah,
he's always trying to find, swaps or he feels better about indulging in a snack
right.
when he's clean. And he actually asked me, like, a week ago or two, he's like, what are seed oils? And, like, Why can't we have them? Like, seeds are good for you, you know?
Yeah. It is a confusing topic. But that's another thing we try and avoid is seed oils just because there's nothing good about them. All the inflammation it causes. Especially with the boys, I don't give them anything with seed oil. Again, it all comes down to reading ingredient labels. So I'm in grocery stores and it takes me maybe 10 minutes longer because if I see something new, I'm flipping it over and reading the ingredient label because it might say organic on the front, but then you read it on the label and it's not organic. So
One thing I did want to ask you about was a few pantry staples that I have swapped things out from your page. So ketchup was one that I've already switched out to the Primal Kitchen ketchup. Again, you really can't tell a difference. So,
I just had someone actually messaged me on Instagram and they have two little girls and they're like, kids love ketchup, but could you really tell the difference between this and Heinz? And I was like, you honestly can't. And I'm not just saying that,
right,
but you could blindfold yourself and try to Heinz and Primal Kitchen ketchup and you'd be like, I can't taste the difference.
right. And I mean, I have a ketchup for forever because
Mhm.
I don't eat ketchup. I'm not, I
Right,
have children that I'm cooking dinner for,
right,
things like that. So when we use ketchup, it's, I'm making sweet potato fries and we're
right.
dipping them in that ketchup. So
Yeah,
that was a really easy swap for us. The thing I probably struggle with the most is probably different types of salad dressing. So
yes.
I have a few that I make. I've taken a few from your page as well, but there are some like we love garlic expressions, if you've
Yeah,
ever heard of that
yeah.
dressing. And I even asked ChatGPT to make a dupe of it that was healthy with an avocado oil or
Right.
even like olive oil, whatever. But it's full of canola oil
I know.
and I can't find any swaps for it, but we go through so much salad
That's
dressing.
how we are. We eat
Yeah.
salads every day. Sometimes I'll make it even for dinner if I had it for
Right.
lunch, if I have like different protein. But
Right. Right.
that is the thing. Condiments are tough because 95% of the condiments on the store shelf are loaded with seed oils. So I do make my own, but again, Primal Kitchen has really good salad dressings and they have a variety of them. They have Caesar, which I love the Caesar. They have a Green Goddess, which is very good with like parsley. I'm trying to think what else is in it. I have it in my
Yep,
pantry
I've
right
had
now.
those too.
They have a teriyaki that I've actually marinated chicken in before and made that for salad. So they really do. It's not just like one or two. They probably have five or six different salad dressings. So having the options is nice. Yeah, condiments is tough because unfortunately, usually they're all filled with seed oils.
Right. And I know that they have a few of them at Wegmans. And I know we talked about this too. Thrive Market has a lot of them. Right.
Yes. And it's
Right.
nice because Thrive Market, their brand itself, they don't put any artificial dyes in anything that they sell under their Thrive Market name. So even if you don't want Primal Kitchen and if you're on Thrive Market, look at their products themselves because they're not loaded with junk. Like I've ordered Thrive Market ketchup before. It's super cheap. I think it's $3 and it doesn't have any corn syrup.
No, I think it's easy too. And I remember when I signed up, you can put in if you very specifically have some type of medical issue, like celiacs or whatever it is, and they will really tailor it exactly
Yeah.
to what you're looking for. But it's definitely come a long way over the years too. I think that they expanded into more than just food. Like there's
Yeah, like I'll get
laundry,
some
hair.
my youngest has eczema. So I've actually found some good cleaner products, like skincare products for babies on Thrive Market. They have like clean detergents, soaps, body lotion. Like they really have expanded, not just like outside of food.
Right. So, which brings me to my next question about some of the clean swaps. So, I use a clean laundry detergent. I know you were talking about one on your page that I do want to try. I use a Clean Cult one that I buy on
Okay.
Amazon,
Yeah.
which I really like. One thing that I love, and I try not to do it, I'm trying to break myself of it, but I love candles. Even made candles at one point, but I feel like it's
I
even the
know.
cleanest candles still not clean, right?
This is how I look at it. There's no, and I've said this before, but there is no way to live a 100% non-toxic life. I look at it, people always say like I'm 80/20, and I could probably even say I'm maybe even like 90/10. I really try and have a clean lifestyle for not just myself, but my husband and the kids. But there's no way you could live life. It's just not possible. So if you like that candle, use it. You know what I mean?
All right, right after this, I'm going to buy.
Yeah. Like you're
Abby's
making
a good
those
buy.
swaps, those cleaner swaps elsewhere. Don't lose sleep over lighting the candle that you like or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I always look at it. Like, again, I am probably that 90-10, but of course, like even at kids' birthday parties, that's where I struggled for a little bit. But now I'm that mom who's like wiping the cupcake icing off, and I'll be like, here, just eat the cupcake. But my kids never fight me over it. They're like, they know. I've started educating. You probably saw a few of my videos with my oldest, but he loves grocery shopping. So he's at that age where I'm like, he's in school, he's old enough to understand things. So I started educating him on synthetic dyes and seed oils. And it's just so, it's become so fun. Like I enjoy bringing him grocery shopping with me because it's just so great to see that he's listening and he's going to be making these mindful choices. And it's funny because I think it was around Halloween when he had a Halloween parade at school. Of course, a lot of the stuff was stuff that I don't buy or keep in the house. He asked to try a lollipop, and I was like, you know what, go for it. And he hated it. Hated it. He was like, yuck, this is sour, and threw it in the garbage. And I kind of was like jumping for joy
Right.
inside because I was like, oh my gosh, like for being 4 years old, like this is so great to see. Yeah, it's just been really, really fun with kids because again, I'm half the time I'm like, are they listening to me? Are they not? You don't know what they listen to, but he loves going grocery shopping and is like, mommy, does this have seed oils? Or mommy, does this have dyes? So yeah, it's been great.
It's nice to see too that like it's not so, restrictive where he's like going to go off and, eat all the candy after
Right.
the Halloween parade. He knows enough that
Right.
he's now going to be able to say, like, you go ahead and try it. If you
Yeah.
like it, that's great. But,
Yeah.
we do this most of the time, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. The only thing I'm not like that with is the synthetic dyes. I actually just was talking on my Instagram page this morning about a documentary called To Die For on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend anyone to watch this with or without kids. It is so eye-opening. And it's not meant to scare you, but it just talks about the long-term effects it has on children, their behavioral effects, and it hits very close to home because when my oldest, he probably wasn't even 2 yet, he was given a cupcake and it was loaded with, I could picture the cupcake. It had purple icing and green sprinkles. And I saw from afar him eat it. And I was like, oh my God, I know what's going to happen. And within 30 minutes, we had to leave. His behavior was uncontrollable. Kicking, screaming, pulling his hair. My husband and I were like, what is going on? So after we left, we got home and it was close to bedtime. And my husband and I were kind of taking shifts because we couldn't control him. I came downstairs, I was sobbing, crying. I called my cousin, who was very educated in all this. I called my sister. And the only thing that made sense was he had that cupcake that was purple and green and just loaded with dyes. So that's when we were like, okay, this is our hard no on dyes. So of course he's going to be eating sugar and other things, but the dyes is things where I'm just like, absolutely not. I will look at that and he might throw a tantrum over something if he sees another kid with it, but it's over in 10 seconds. So we try, like I said, we try and do that 80-20, 90-10. So he's a kid, he's going to be at parties and play dates and have food that I don't buy, but it's just great to see him at such a young age being like, ew, this is gross, or oh, does this have dyes in it? So, but yeah, the documentary I highly recommend. It's very, very interesting.
Yes. And I think too, it goes beyond just your general health, right? We shouldn't be eating seed oil for inflammation, but especially for children too. We don't even know really the extent of what some of these things
Right.
have on someone's body. So
And kids' toothpaste. Like I buy toothpaste from Amazon for my kids that doesn't have fluoride or dyes in it. But like I said, when I started getting really into this, I was like, I need to educate myself more. I started researching and reading a lot more on it. And Red 40, it's linked to cancer. So like that's something I'm like, I'm not gonna give that to my child. Like, so that, like I said, the one thing where I'm like, of course there might be seed oil in something he eats, and I'm like, I can't control that. But the dyes is where my husband and I are like, nope, there's dyes in it. You can't have it.
I know I'm even, ever since you started your page, like I'm flipping things and like trying to look like you obviously know some things. One thing I did want to bring up because my mom has been very into it. There's an app that you can scan that I think might be a good way for people to get into it,
Right.
instead because like me, I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I know red dye
Right.
40, right? I know
Right.
the natural flavoring, like all
Right.
that, like the buzzwords, but I think it's called Yuka
I've heard
app.
of that. And I've heard of I'm a big fan, you've heard me talk about it as protein powder before and electrolytes, but Bobby Parrish has an app where it's called, he'll basically say it's Bobby approved or not Bobby approved. So that's another great app where you could use grocery shopping. And I always say, like, once you might only use that app once or twice, and then you might just remember, like, oh yeah, I don't buy that brand because it got a 2 or a negative on the app or something. But it is nice for people who are starting who might need that help at first.
Right. I know my mom will say, "Could you believe this? I'm never buying that again." And then, she'll scan something that she thinks is terrible, and it's really not that bad. I think it rates it where it's green, yellow, red. And so it's easy for someone like her. Like I know she was doing it with a bunch of pasta sauces. Right,
Again, read the
right.
label. Read the label. I'm all about reading
Exactly.
the ingredient
Yeah.
label.
I have to download it. I do. But I'll check out the other one as well.
Yeah, love Bobby Parrish.
Yeah, yeah. So when you did make this shift, obviously your children really don't know anything besides this, but like how did your husband, was he like this is a
He's
lot?
totally been on board since the start. He's not a picky eater. He tries anything and everything, so I think that makes the biggest difference. But he always says, like, you can't even taste the difference. If I'm baking something and I make it with almond flour versus just bleached regular flour, I use most of the sugar swaps I use are a pure maple syrup or coconut sugar, and he's always, you can't taste the difference. I know that's the best part. So he's always been on board. He'll eat anything I make, he'll try anything I buy. So, which is great because if he's trying it or I'm eating it, then the boys are entitled. They're like, oh, I'll try it. They don't fight as much. So,
Right.
yeah, thank God he's been on board.
Yeah. No, I feel like that would be such a hard,
Right.
especially with children too. If you're cooking for them, you're not going to be cooking like three different meals every night.
And I
Like
was
that.
doing that for a while. At first, I was like, one wanted this and one wanted that, and I didn't want that. And then I realized, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is,
Right.
and like I said, my 2-year-old is the best eater. He tries anything, he eats anything, everything like Applegate sausage. He'll come up to me in the morning and be like, I want eggs, sausage, and ketchup. And it's Primal Kitchen ketchup, it's organic eggs, it's the sausage from Applegate. So it's like, and again, you can't taste the difference.
No. I'm coming over for breakfast. Make another
Anytime.
plate. Like, who's this girl, mom? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
No.
so funny. So it is nice because the boy, I will say, my oldest is a lot pickier than my youngest. But they both eat what I buy, and yeah, it's just, and it's funny because my cousin who is very educated and all this, she told me once, which is always happened to me, but she said with kids, it takes them at least 25 times to try a new food to eventually like it. I definitely see that with my oldest. My youngest, again, will try anything and I'll tell you if he likes it from one bite or not. My oldest, I've noticed some things I have to continue to buy. And I'm like, I will get him to like this. It is it's the cleaner version of this chip. And now one of his favorite chips is the Siete nachos. I'm like, this is the best. He doesn't eat Doritos anymore. He eats the Siete nachos. So that's another thing. Parents, it could be overwhelming because you're like, well, my kid won't do it. Keep trying because eventually they will like it. But yeah, 25 times. When she told me that, I was like, that seems hard to believe. But yeah, I totally believe it now with my oldest.
Right. I know that you were saying you're more 90-10, but
Yeah.
if you like have a cheat and you're like, okay, it doesn't matter, what is it?
That's that's tough. I'm a big sweets person. Dark chocolate's like my weakness. So I would say if going out to eat is always tricky, again because of my allergy. But I will say if there's like a chocolate cake of some sort, I'm like, ooh, let me just have one bite.
Right. Yep.
But other than that, it pretty like it is funny because the more you eat cleaner, your body adapts to it and you don't crave any of that junk anymore. So I
Right.
really don't when I started eating very clean, like I had people asking like, "Come on, are you craving this?" And I'm like, "No." Like my body just fully adjusted to it and doesn't want that. I feel so much better. But like I said, I love chocolate, so I would probably say like a chocolate cake or a cookie of
Right.
some sort if I could eat it. Like just one bite.
Right, right. Just a little taste. I
Yeah.
know. It's like sweet or salty. Like, I'm definitely more of a salty. I rather pretzels as my
Yeah.
snack.
Yeah. I'm kind of both because like I love chocolate covered nuts. Make
Mhm.
clusters all the time. I love
Right.
just having like a dark chocolate drizzle it over pistachios or cashews. So I'm kind of a little bit of both, but I think I would lean towards sweets. Yeah.
Right, right. I wanted to ask you about because I've again mentioned this to you, but I tried digging into it a little bit more, so I figured I would just let you teach me about coffee and the importance of a mold-free coffee.
Yeah, so I found two very clean brands that I like, and I've talked about it before. Taylor Duke's Wellness and Purity. They're both mold organic coffee. Tastes so good. You do have to order them online. They're not in the stores. That's the only downfall because if like you need something quick, and I'm the same way. If I run out of it not knowing I'm low, I just go to the store and just buy any organic coffee until it comes. So I don't stress about
Right.
it. But I do try and have the mold-free coffee in my house. Taylor Juice also has some other great products. She has her own supplement line. I've talked about her electrolytes. I love those. She also has bone broth, protein powder. So she has a ton of stuff on her website. But yeah, the mold-free coffee I get from there. But hers are beans, so you do need a coffee grinder, where Purity is actually ground up coffee.
Okay. Yeah, and you can get Purity, I think, on Amazon.
Yes, you can.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And coffee's a tough change because people they like their coffee. And I get it. Like I am first thing in the morning, go down, have my cup of coffee. And a lot of people talk about like the coffee. I actually just had one of my friends text me last week about what's a good coffee creamer. I cannot get away from this one creamer, but it's just loaded with all this junk.
Yeah.
It's hard because I know again, people they want that one cup a day of just whatever they want are
Yeah.
craving.
A lot of people I know, it's their guilty, like
Right.
everything else is clean. My sister-in-law, that's her
Yeah.
like thing. She's
Right.
like, I'm gonna
I
have this
just want
coffee. Everything
yeah,
else I will be super good with, but
yeah, I know.
that's
So
it.
I told him, I was like, "You're probably not gonna like this answer, but can you just do organic cream? Just go to the store, buy a pint of organic cream. The label will just say organic cream or organic whole milk with coconut sugar." Again, it's tough because people have been drinking coffee probably their whole lives and they're like, "I'm not changing it." But if you are looking for that cleaner swap, I do recommend doing a mold-free coffee and trying the just organic cream, organic milk. But yeah, coffee, no, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I was eliminating a few things with some of my medical things that I had
Yeah.
going on, and one of the things was taking out any type of unnecessary dairy, just wasn't trying to add any more inflammation to
Right.
what I had going on where I could. So I stopped cream. I would just put half and half in my
Yeah.
coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And so one day we just completely cold turkey. We're just like, we're going to drink black coffee now. And since then, we just drink black coffee.
That's all we drink too, me and my
Right.
husband. I love black coffee, but again, people are like, "Ooh, black coffee." I'm
I
like,
know.
"Just try it."
I know, I know. But I would always try even like the Chobani creamers and things
Yeah.
like that. Like, I don't feel like there's probably many good options.
That's the thing. There's really not like I know those are they the nut pods? They try
Yeah,
and all these brands try and advertise, but again, if you read the label, they're loaded with natural flavors, which natural flavors you think is a clean ingredient just by the word natural
sounds very
flavor.
clean.
It's just another chemical. There's
Right,
not really anything beneficial from it. So again, all they're either loaded with seed oils, natural flavors. So they might advertise it as the healthy or might have like a prettier label that looks cleaner. But
right.
again, like I said, I probably said it 4 times, but reading the ingredient label
Yeah.
is where you'll
No, and
find.
I think there's a difference too between having the even if someone's 80-20 or even less than that, having the occasional coffee that has
Right.
that bit. If you think about it, you're starting your day every single
Hmm.
day with this cup of chemicals,
Right.
basically, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
So that's where I feel like it's like the big things where it's the things you have every day, salad dressing, all
Right.
of that. If you could just change those,
Yeah.
it makes the one-off situations not nearly
Absolutely.
as bad.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I know that you have your Instagram page and you're doing kind of like just your daily life on there,
Mhm.
like what you're cooking the boys for dinner and, some swaps and things like that. What is your goal with the page? Anything fun that you want to do with it? Something you're working on behind the scenes?
Again, just my goal, I think long term is just continue what I'm doing, sharing recipes, sharing the clean products that I've been buying from Amazon. And I've gotten such great feedback from parents. I had such a nice conversation the other day with someone that I went to school with years ago, but I haven't seen because I moved out of state. And she messaged me and we were just talking about synthetic dyes and just it started a conversation that was so nice to have with another parent. And And just hearing that feedback where she was like, keep doing what you're doing. This is so great. And so again, I just think I'm taking it day by day, but for only having it for a few weeks, it's been fun. And I just love sharing the recipes that I'm making and giving to my kids that hopefully other people are making. And I've gotten such great messages from people, like text messages being like, oh my God, I made your peanut butter bars and they're so good and my child loves them. So again, and I think I said this on my initial post where like if I can make one person make one clean swap or one recipe that's not loaded with junk in it, I'm happy. And I've gotten that multiple times. So again, I'm taking it day by day, but it's just been really fun and I'm happy to get such good feedback on it all.
Yes. And I know there, there's people like me, there's people with children, or there's people that have been most of their life not really paying attention to this, but now eye
Right.
opened,
Yeah.
I know, I feel like your Instagram is very real too, like you're making breakfast, it's your coffee pot in the morning.
Right.
Like there's so many things on Instagram that are just so glamorized.
That was one thing I said to my husband, like, I don't want it to come off anything other than me in my everyday. Like, I'm not trying to change anything. Like, I just want it to be real, relatable. So I think that definitely plays a good part in this. But that was one thing where I was like, I don't want to try to do this. I want it to just come easy. And like I said, it's been fun and I've gotten such great feedback.
Yes, I'm so happy that you did it. I feel like I was kind of the same way
Yeah.
with my Instagram. It actually started sharing it with my friends and they would ask me and I'm just like, okay,
Right.
I'm just gonna put them all here and
Yeah.
you can do that. And I do love to cook, so then it started to be with recipes.
Right.
And then I remember I finally like said like this was me because had a book following that was not my friends and family. And
Right.
they were like, is this a random person? Like, who are you? Kind of
Right.
a thing. So once I did that, I'm like, I don't care what anyone else thinks,
Right.
Like if
That's
someone
how where
doesn't like
I'm at
that,
now. At first, like I said, social media does intimidate me a little, which is why I was so hesitant with it. But now I'm loving it. And like I said, I've gotten such great feedback from people that I don't know and people that I know. I've had Simple Mills and Unreal message me. So it's just, like I said, it's just been, I think I'm out of my comfort zone now with it. Like I'm like, it's not hard and scary anymore. Now I'm like, it's just my everyday, oh, I have to put this on. I want to share this recipe that my kids love with people. So yeah, it's
yes.
just been really, really great.
Yeah, and it's like anything else. The more you do it, the more it's like, oh, this is just what I do now,
Right. Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome. Well, Abby, I love chatting with you. It was so
Me,
good to
thank you so
learn.
much for having me. This was great.
Selfishly, asked all the things that I really wanted to know about. So, but I know that everyone will take something away from this, whether it's a small change, like you mentioned,
Right.
all of those little things equal one big thing at the end of the day. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
you could follow Abby on Instagram. She shares things, recommendations, swaps, meal ideas, great recipes also too, by the way. So you can follow her on Instagram and thanks again for joining.
Thank you so much, Olivia.